Greetings and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Sliders Review. And I'm here today to talk to you about The Haunting Hour, The Dead Body. This is one of my all-time favorite episodes of season 1. And it dealt with like a ghost and like a twist I did not see coming at all. Because if this was Goosebumps, it would have ended everything on like a good note. But my God, it ended everything on a oh my God moment. You know what I'm saying? And then it gets resolved, I think, like 3 seasons later. But the second episode really wasn't all that great. Like it's okay, but I prefer this one a whole lot better. And so yeah, Dead Body basically revolves around a guy named Will. And he's constantly getting picked on by this one bully. Or two of them actually. They're like a group. Travis and Chang. Travis is mean. Like he's your typical high school bully who's smacking Will around, making fun of him, making everybody else laugh at him. Typical punk stuff, And so Will's friend, who we don't get to see much of or hear much of, I don't even think we know his name in this episode, and he didn't show up for the second one. And so, like, he wants to play Halo in the weekend, but Will wants a girl. He wants a date because there's some type of school event dance thing coming up, and he wants one of the hottest girls in school, Heather. And his friends all like, dude, she is out of your league. But Will don't care. He tries to talk to her, but of course he gets made fun of by Travis. And so, and the pranks that he pulls on Will are like, ugh, man, making him wet his pants, smacking him around, shoving him around, scaring him with masks, like you name it. And so, like when Will's walking home from school, he starts seeing like the wind blowing like all these objects around. And then next thing you know, he gets scared by Travis and Chang. And then all of a sudden, a boy just appears out of nowhere with a leather jacket and slick back hair and moose. And so he's all like, man, why do you let them kids pick on you for? And he's all like, because, they'll beat me up if I don't. And he's all like, man, you got to get them back and I can help you. And he's all like, why would you help me? He's like, cuz, man, I hate bullies and everything. And so, but I think Will rejects his offer. No, Will accepts his offer, something like that. Anyways, they're at like a school field trip in the woods. And what's his name? Will has finally bucked up the courage, I think, to talk to like Heather or something like that. He tried in the classroom, but Travis kind of interrupted that. And so, like, when they're outside in the woods and he's all like, oh, Travis is playing with poison ivy. So Travis doesn't like that and starts beating up on Will, pushing him and shoving him. Then when he pushes Will on the ground, Will spots like a dead man's body, like in the bushes. Everybody is freaked. And so Travis makes him touch it. But then all of a sudden, the dead body comes to life. It scares the piss out of Travis. And he takes off running. And Chang, I think, goes too. What's the name? Heather's all like, oh, I'm getting the supervisor. But then next thing you know, it was the boy that Will met. Dude, what's his name? Jake Skinner. And so like Will's, he's happy, like, oh man, I finally got them back and stuff like that. And Jake's just kind of like, really? We can like pump it up another level, you know what I'm saying? And he's all like, I don't know, man. He's like, oh, come on, man, we have to get them, you know what I'm saying? And so he's like, all right, fine, whatever. So Travis is still running, and then he gets like separated and lost, and there's a bunch of trees around him. Then next thing you know, bugs starts crawling like on his face, and then all of a sudden, something like grabs him and drags him like on the ground and everything. But we don't see nothing, but something's dragging him. And then it's just like a big holler, like scream. And then so when the kids find and the teacher finds Travis, he is petrified, terrified, and just shaking on the ground. The next day, like Heather goes to Will and tells him whatever like happened in that prank you pulled on him, it really like traumatized him to where Travis is no longer going to school. And then Will's all like, I don't understand. Like Jake said the prank wasn't gonna be that bad. The janitor overhears him say that. And then Heather's like, Jake who? I've never heard this Jake. And he's like, Jake Skinner. And then the janitor has like a really worried look on his face. At some point in time, he talks to like um Will, and he's all like, "What do you know about this Jake Skinner person?" And he's all like, "Just some like guy I met." He's like, "You can't, boy. He died back in like 1950 or something like that." And Will's just kind of like, "What?" So he goes into like the school with all the trophies and stuff, and he's looking at the people who graduated, the senior class from like the 70s and the 60s and the 50s, and then he finds this picture all by itself in memory of, and Jake is in fact dead. And so like next thing you know, Jake just appears out of nowhere, and he's all like, um, "Dude, you like a ghost and blah 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 stuff like that." He's like, "Yeah, but we still have to get chained, man." He's all like, "No, like man, like blah 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 stuff like that." But then he smiles with a grin on his face, and he has Travis braces in his mouth. It is disturbing. So at some point in time, Chang is like in the gym, like pumping iron and stuff, and he overhears like a noise, and then Jake is just standing there and winks at him. Then Jake's face turns into like a monster with razor sharp teeth and snarls at him. Chang is freaked out. So then Will talks to the janitor and he asks, like, how did Jake die? And he tells him back in the day, some jocks started picking on Jake, and and Jake got them back, but they didn't like it. So they stuffed him into like a kind of like a closet made of like a gate, and then they threw fireworks at his feet. Well, the fireworks set something on fire, and Jake burnt to death. So like it's time for like the school dance thing, and Will is looking for Jake. He goes into the gym, but everything looks different. It's set now in 1950, and Kennedy is like the president and has like a picture of him. And so he's looking for Jake, calling him out. But all of a sudden, it's the flashback of what happened to Jake. And we get to see everything about how the bullies picked on Jake and threw him in that locker room. And then they set the thing on fire with the fireworks. So Jake is calling out for Will's help, and Will is trying to open up the gated door, but he can't. He busts it open with like a weight, and then he opens it up and goes inside, right? But then like Jake is nowhere to be found. Jake is now on the outside, and he gives him the look, a grin, an evil grin, right? And then he winks at him. And then the fire like shelf falls on Will and he screams. And then so like what is it? Jake is at the party, Heather's looking for Will, and then Jake introduces himself to Heather. And next thing you know, Will wakes up. It's like, oh man, the dance. But then he sees he's back into his normal like timeline because he sees a picture of Obama. This happened back in like 2009. His show came out. It was like 2009, 2010, around that time. And so like Will, he goes looking for Heather and he tries talking to her, but she won't reply. She can't see him. He is now a ghost. And so like Jake is all like wanting to dance with Heather, and it pisses off Will. But then she walks right through Will's body, and then like he looks at Will, and he gives him a wink, and it ends. I was like, my God, the dude stole the other dude's life and made him a ghost, and now he's living his life as a mortal. I'm like, that is a dark twist for R.L. Stein. He doesn't do stuff like that normally, like back in the day in Goosebumps. And I'm just like, I was not expecting that whatsoever. I was like, whoa. That wasn't that spooky. All right, well, I shall talk to y'all later. Bye.